lot of people have told me, I grew up very quickly, probably too quickly. I think I found my form of escapism through books. I read so much because, I was in there. I think there's so much of the movement, financial hardship.
Yeah, it's taking a toll.
It was taking a toll, My mum would work 3 jobs at some stage just to keep us afloat. There was moments where we didn't even have electricity. I hadn't been into schooling for over a year. The meals started to become less and less. Why weren't we having any money? We were living comfortably.
Right.
But now, it
was
just
feeling different.
It was feeling, drastically different. And then this caused me to, speak up.
Did you also have a sense of hope while you had alarm bells? Or were you just thinking all along,
absolutely,
this feels really strange?
At the beginning, absolutely. I thought, oh, yes, finally, all this darkness and struggle, we're finally, getting our moment. Why did I go through so much trouble when this beautiful woman is opening us up, and with open arms? I'll never forget that expression, where she looked at us.
Yeah.
And she's just as if we were missing. At the moment, I got so upset. I got so angry. And, I just thought, why didn't we come here sooner? What?
We had this all along.
We had this all along. I had no one else. And your phone number was the only one I had. So I was desperate.
Yeah.
I needed something to change. I want to speak on your experience.
My experience was pretty incredible. It was an incredible time for me, for sure. Yeah. And I said, nope, we're going to be there. We'll take them. We'll take the girls. And we knew that was going to be as long as it needed to be. Ntear.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me on the show. Thanks for coming on Thirstee Coconut.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Fantastic. I appreciate it. For those who are watching, I am talking to Ntear. Ntear was born in the mid-90s in South Australia, here in Australia. Your mother is of Samoan background and your father's background is part Indigenous and part Australian. You graduated high school in 2014. And then you went on to study at Swinburne University, where you graduated with a diploma of interior design. You now currently work as a project officer in the corporate sector of state government here in Victoria and Melbourne, Australia. And have I got that right so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrific. So I wanted to get you here to talk to you about your journey and just all things Ntear, because I know that millennials and Gen Z and future generations will, I believe that your story will resonate with many millennials and Gen Z and future generations, where I just think your story will connect with a lot of people. You're still quite a young person and continue to inspire at least me as I watch your journey. But I'm just really, I just feel really honored to have you on the show. So thanks so much for coming.
Vice versa. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. So perhaps maybe what we'll do is, start with kind of you sharing your early years and kind of what that was like for you. And then we can move on to, kind of later high school, where you went on to what are the sorts of things you got up to as a young lady. Granted, you're still a young lady, but you've done quite a bit in your life. So perhaps without further ado, I'll hand the mic over to you and start, and you can start telling me all about your younger years.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I think snapping back to my early years, Mum and I, we traveled a lot. So I kind of revert to her as a bit of a gypsy now that I think about it. It was very fun, but also, we had some challenges throughout that stage of life. And those years are so impactful and important.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that truly shifted, my mindset. I got to, experience so many different things, meet so many different people at a young age. But also, I think the downfall of that was, never really having a concrete place.
Yes.
And really kind of just thinking, or not having like sentiment almost,
Right.
having that moment of like, oh, we're not going to be here for much longer. Like, who
Right.
cares? But yeah, so that happened for quite a time of my life. As you said, I was born in South Australia, Adelaide, and then we came into Melbourne. I was probably in Melbourne till I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And then mum and I migrated over to Queensland and stayed there for a decade.
Wow.
So there was a lot of movement.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it really shaped me. And I'm pretty grateful for that experience.
Yep.
But again, like I said, we've definitely had our
Yeah.
challenges.
And why was your mom such a gypsy in her younger days?
Oh gosh, good question.
What was the, what was the reason for why do you know why your mother didn't feel settled or?
Yeah. It would definitely have a correlation with her relationships,
Right.
at the time. My father wasn't the most biggest role model. He was very absent. He had his troubles as well.
Yeah.
He was in and out of, prison, and he was
Yes.
just they both were going through substance abuse. But my mum had me when she was 24.
Yep.
And that I think that helped her a little bit, from what she's mentioned. She really just cut that time of her life out and really kind of wanted to start fresh.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe give her a sense of purpose or something.
Yeah, it did, definitely. I
Right.
feel like, when I came into the world, it kind of made her, step back and reflect. And so, I can't speak onto her experience, but from looking from my point of view, I feel like she would have definitely had that sort of sense.
Who was your father at the time?
A good question. I didn't
Right.
really. Yeah,
You were too young to.
we will get
Yeah.
there. My dad. Yeah, I think he was. I think he was in prison during that time.
I see.
And yeah, so I think my mum just wanted to kind of move on, and then start a new life in Queensland. But then that didn't really turn out as she expected. We used to live in rural countries, like, those who probably might have heard it, Billawheeler, Roma. Very country towns. There's just one strip.
Far away
There's
from
just
anything.
one strip.
Yeah.
You've got a petrol station and, IGA and bakery. That's about it.
That's it.
But
Population of,
yeah.
I don't know, less than
And,
3,000. I'm just guessing.
I don't
What's the population of
it
Billawheeler?
might have grown by now, I think. But yeah, look, my mum, she tried the hardest she could. We weren't the most luckiest financially. There was a lot of challenging times.
Yep.
Those would probably know moving in general is very costly. Starting up again in a new town, not knowing anyone, your family's not even in the same state. It's just you. And if you've got 2 kids, so I'm not the type of person to look back, at that life and think, gosh, I wish I had this upbringing. She did the best she could.
Yeah. You just rolled with the punches as they.
You had to. Yeah. Well, my perspective was you just have to keep going
to survive.
Yeah, because my mum was in survival mode. And I think when I grew up watching that really gave my sense of awareness.
Yes.
A lot of people have told me, I grew up very quickly, probably too quickly. But I'm not the only kid out there who's probably experienced that, and I hope they could probably relate. But again, I wouldn't change a thing. It's really, I'm pretty grateful for having that insight at such an early age. But yeah, no, it was definitely challenging times. But I think throughout my early schooling days, I go back to, how I mentioned, oh, we're not going to stay here for very much longer. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
That definitely impacted my education
Right.
and my learning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only thing that, that was really difficult because I moved to different schools.
Yeah.
All
What was
the
that like for you
time.
in school? I mean, did you think, okay, this is the school that I'm
Mm,
gonna stay at, or
mm.
were you actually thinking, I know this is gonna be temporary and
Yeah, I know it was going to be temporary, but also it had some other difficulties as well.
okay,
I'm Samoan and Aboriginal, so
yes,
I'm dark skinned. Not many people agreed with that. I definitely faced quite a bit of racism
I see.
as a kid. So moving schools, that was definitely one, um, you know, reason why I had to move. I got bullied quite a lot.
Okay,
So that was really difficult. It was very isolating.
yeah,
And because my mum was in survival mode, I didn't really have that emotional support, I think,
yeah,
as well. She thought, okay, that school didn't work out. Let's just pick up and move on.
I see.
Because she's got a little bit of that gypsy sort of
Yeah,
mentality.
yeah,
She's like, let's just try, let's get out. Yeah, she's a bit of a runner.
yeah. Well,
She's like, oh no, let's not let's not think about it. Let's just move on.
it's interesting because I mean, many of us do run from things. There are, it's not unusual that people run from things. Some people do it in different ways. Other people pick up and go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
I agree. And that definitely rippled a little bit into my personality at a
right.
young age.
And was
But
part of the reason I know you mentioned you were subject to racism and bullying. Was part of the reason that your mother moved because of that, or was it more that for her own sort of challenges that she was going through?
I believe it was mainly through her own challenges
Yes.
that she was going through. I think picking up and leaving unexpectedly,
Was a way of life.
was to way of life. But I think a light in all of that though was I did find a sanctuary, and the
Okay.
sanctuary was libraries for me.
Wow.
Yeah, libraries were just my safe space, because there's kids that don't really go. they never went into the library. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
I love
And then,
it. Yeah.
I think I found my form of escapism through books.
I see.
I read so much because, I was in there. And I loved reading. It really kind of mentally made me escape from my reality, and it kept me out
Got
of
it.
trouble,
Got it.
There was weirdly, look, bullying, it sucked, but I'm also kind of grateful that it happened.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe I really look back at it. It's like, what if I did get along with those kids, Not saying that they were terrible people, but like they weren't the best of influences.
Gotcha.
And it made me super independent.
And is this, when you say library, was this in your primary school, like in your before
Yeah.
you'd reached high school?
Yeah, way before I reached high school. And even when we were moving quite a lot, because there was periods where I wasn't going to school, because we were moving and we were settling,
Ah.
and but there was always a library in town. So yeah,
I find that so fascinating and just incredible because, I think the last place I thought of to go was the library, even though I did find myself in the library as a sanctuary. I'm not sure if I was consciously doing it because I too faced bullying in younger years, in my primary school years, but I didn't think of the library to go to as a place to escape the madness of what was actually happening. And I think that's such a brilliant thing to do, that if, I suppose, those who are facing into bullying in school, what a great way to go to escape, rather than necessarily, sort of hiding in the corner and putting yourself through that pity when you don't deserve to do that to yourself. I think that's so amazing.
And I think I unconsciously I leaned more towards the teachers as well.
Okay.
The connection too. And I think that kind of relates to, you know, when we were moving so much, I was only hanging out with my mother and whoever she was hanging out with. And mostly of that age, they're older.
Yeah.
You know, they're adults.
Adults.
Yeah. So I felt like, you know, my language and my mentality was kind of just with them.
Yes.
So I never really got along with, you know, the kids of my age.
It's amazing.
You know, I wasn't at school. I didn't get to build those relationships.
Yeah.
I wasn't there long enough.
And you didn't grow up with
And
those people.
I didn't grow up with anyone but my mum and, you know, the people that she was around. So when I was in the library, you know, I think teachers noticed that quite a lot. You know, I could speak with them. I could get along. I felt safe with them because it was familiar. And I think that's how I weirdly got better grades. Or like, you know, I stayed consistent within my learning.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was battling that inconsistency of education.
Understood.
So yeah, that was kind of, I don't know, a subconsciously way I was doing that. Yeah, it was really
that's your,
really
I mean,
weird.
fight or flight. People, you know, it's a fight or flight. You didn't, it was almost like this, there's a fight or a flight, right? But you chose a hybrid of the two. You know, you sort of fought for your own safety and you found a way to cope through that by escaping into the library, which I couldn't think of a better place to be.
Yeah.
That's very clever.
I'm really grateful that I did that.
Very clever.
I don't know, I get that. I think, well, mum loved to read as well, you know, and we'd always walk around and check out museums, you know, because we're in a new town. You know, it was kind of one of those explorer. Yeah, she's a very explorative sort of person, and we used to do that all the time. And yeah, we'd always find ourselves into cute little antique sort of, you know, stores, and yeah, she loved reading as well. So
great.
I really connected with her in that sort of aspect.
Gotcha.
But yeah, those were my younger years. And then yeah, I like that was a really good time until things definitely shifted.
Right.
Yeah.
For you, in terms of kind of where you saw your future and your life and so on, is that
absolutely all of us? I think.
I see.
Yeah, there was a pivotal shift that happened in Queensland.
Right.
And I truly believe it was because my mum was just desperate for a new life.
Right.
I think there's so much of the movement, you know, financial hardship.
Yeah. It's taking a toll.
It was taking a toll, you know. My mum would work 3 jobs at some stage just to keep us afloat. You know, there was moments where we didn't even have electricity.
Wow.
We were sleeping with candles and stuff. You know, when you're a kid, it feels like cute and homey.
Novelty.
You know, like, oh, this is kind
of
of
an
fun.
adventure.
Yeah, but when you look back at it, it's just like, you know,
that sucks.
there was, yeah. It sucked.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, there's, when I look back at it, you know, I just think my mum just wanted different, you know, for herself and for myself. And but she unfortunately fell through for a scam. I think the scam came to her maybe through the mail or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah. We were in Billerilla at the time. And she just had a pep in her step. I remember this day. She had a pep in her step. She's like, oh my God, you never guess it. Like, we've got inheritance, you know, it's from Spain. And I was like, oh,
what did you think about that?
Well, I was 11 and I was thinking, okay. And I used to read my mum's, you know, mail because checking for bills and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you were in a sense kind of her right-hand man in a way.
Absolutely.
In some ways. Yeah.
And yeah, I remember reading this letter and I was a bit suspicious. And I thought, okay, you know, let's look into it, I suppose. And from that letter, she was constantly on the phone to these people, and you know, we kept making trips to the bank. And then that's kind of where the situation of our living got worse.
Was that unusual for you? Those trips to the bank and your kind of the change in your mother's behavior?
Absolutely, you know. And yeah, the meals started to become less and less. Why weren't we having any money? you know, we were living comfortably,
Right.
but now like it
was
just
feeling
wasn't.
different.
It was feeling, you know, drastically different. And then this caused me to, you know, speak up, thinking like, what is going on? Like, who are these people? Mum's like, you know, we have family in Spain. Someone's passed away, and you know, we've obtained that inheritance. My alarm bells are just going off, and I thought, oh God, this doesn't sound promising at all. And
Did you
then,
also have a sense of hope while you had alarm bells? Like, or were you just thinking all along,
absolutely,
this feels really strange?
at the
Or
beginning, yeah, absolutely. I thought, oh yes, you know, finally, you
light
know,
at the
all
end? Yeah.
this darkness and struggle, we're finally, you know, getting our moment. And unfortunately, that was the beginning of the downfall.
It just got worse.
Pure no.
Just when you thought it was at the bottom, there was more.
Just when it was exciting.
More bottom to have.
We've laughed about it.
Yeah.
No, well, my mum, again, her alternative was to pick up and leave because, you know, we had overflowing bills we couldn't pay, you know, for the house that we were living at due to this scam that she was falling into. But the one way we were able to move, my mum was in this relationship with, I can't remember his name. Sorry if he sees this, but he was lovely, and he agreed to travel us from Queensland all the way down to the coast, to Sydney.
Yep.
And that was like really sort of on the road living. Yeah, we were sleeping in the car, and
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty insane. And we'd take all of our luggage, you know, packed clothes, whatever we could take on our back. And the moment, I think, why this was so pivotal was because I didn't know where we were going.
Yep.
Usually I knew where we were going. We had some form of kind of plan, and there was just no plan at this stage. We were just kind of winging it with this stranger, you know.
How were you feeling about that?
I was scared, yeah. But I still had trust, you know, in my mum. She's gotten us this far, you know. I just got to trust the process. And yeah, we had some really fun kind of road trip days down there, and then landed in Sydney. Yeah.
So that was a pivotal time for you then. You were 11 years old. You were like, okay, I usually know what's going on, but this is feeling a little bit strange now. What were you, so why was it so pivotal for you then?
We were on the road longer than we usually were. Yeah. And yeah, I hadn't been into schooling for over a year. Yeah. And that's when it really got serious. And my mum said we had family at the time in Sydney, and I said, okay, not sure who these family members are, but we'll let's go check it out.
Trust the process.
We'll trust the process. And I got to this beautiful home, and that's when reality really shook me, because I met this really lovely lady, you know, and she just starts breaking down. She's like, oh my God, Ntear. And I was thinking, whoa, who is this person? How does she know me? And then I look at her, I was like, are we related? Is this family? I'm walking down this hallway and I'm seeing photos of my mom when she was young, and I'm just shook. I'm just like, what the hell? And it's a gorgeous home, you know? And I just, at the moment, I got so upset. I got so angry. And, you know, I just thought, like, why didn't we come here sooner? What?
We had this all along.
We had this all along.
Yeah.
Why did I go through so much trouble when this beautiful woman is opening us up, you know, and with open arms? You know, I've never forget that expression, you know, where she looked at us.
Yeah.
And she's just as if we were missing.
Right. That's amazing.
And that that really changed my perspective of my mother.
So when you say you got upset, that was because, as you said, all this time you might have been able to be stable for like all the things that you went through in your younger years was not necessary.
Mm-hmm. Massive, yeah.
And you could have had a life somewhere where you walked into a place that looked and felt like home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could have had the life that I was seeing my mum did in her early years.
Yes.
In those photos on the wall.
Mm.
You know, it was really, it was challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know who these people were. And I just thought, what the hell? Like, so bizarre. And then all the photo albums were coming out. And I just felt so at peace in her energy. But yeah, it was like a weird mourning of the life I could have had. You know, it was really, even though I was so grateful and we've had so many great times with my mum, and I just thought, oh God, we could have had, you know, cousins. And I just, that's when I started to really kind of have a difficult relationship with my mum. That's when it kind of
things changed for you.
Started to change quite a lot. And so when we got there, that visit didn't really last very long. And that was really sad for me.
Yeah.
That was really disappointing because I didn't know when I was going to see them again. Because we never really go back to the same place twice.
Yeah.
So that was really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we made couple of movements to Tasmania. We're in Launceston for a little bit. Can't even remember why we were even there. We were just moving. And I think Mum really wanted to try and get her papers right from memory. And she wanted to start her new life in Samoa.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's what I thought as well. I was like, oh, okay. We're actually leaving the country. This really started.
A place that you didn't know anything about.
This really started
you didn't
to
grow
get
up
scary.
Yeah, learning about Samoa and all of a sudden now you're going to live there potentially.
Mm-hmm. I thought, no, this has got to stop. I'm over this moving.
Right.
I've seen
How old were you then by that
now.
time?
I was 12.
Turned 12.
I've seen different now. I've met some family members. I saw a vision of the life I could have had.
Wow.
You know, all those moments, you know, we were still homeless, you know, we're still in and out of, you know, emergency shelter and care. And I just think, oh God, I need to be saved. What can I do to get myself out of this? Because there was either the option of, you know, running away. I was having really bad intrusive thoughts at this time of my life as well, like really, really getting away off this planet. You know,
yeah,
like
for sure.
It was just really difficult with this struggle.
That trip to Sydney really did change your perspective, didn't it?
Massive. And I was just done living on the street. You know? Been in a home for so long. And I had this number imprinted in my name. I mean, in my brain, sorry. Which was yours. Which is yours.
Phone number.
Yeah, your phone number. Yeah. And what did I think I texted you at the start.
You did.
I think I texted
Yes, I received
you.
a text from you. Yes.
I texted you at the start and, you know, I thought, you know, it's been a while. I was asking to stay with you for a little bit, you know.
Yeah. I was super surprised and pleased I was surprised and pleased to see your text at the same time. It was like, what? I thought these guys are missing, you know, and I was like, this is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So, you were my lifeline, you know, at that time.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen you since I was 5, I think.
Yeah, it had been a while.
It was a long time. And I was petrified to send those texts to you. And I think only because
I was going to ask, why were you petrified?
I had no one else. And your phone number was the only one I had.
Yeah.
So I was desperate.
Yeah.
You know, I needed something to
Mm-hmm.
change. And I texted you. I said, you know, hope I'm not going to be a burden. It'll only be temporary till I can find something for my sister and I. And yeah, we got connected pretty much straight after that. I don't want to speak on your experience.
Oh, my
But,
experience was pretty incredible. It was an incredible time for me, for sure.
yeah, and for me, it was so life changing. I think we were in Canberra at the time.
Right. Yeah,
we
that's
were,
right. That's right.
and that was a pretty heavy day. That was a really, really heavy day because that was at that moment. We were in Canberra. We were meeting this organization again for some emergency shelter. And I just remember being in this massive boardroom filled with these people. And they pretty much turned around to my mother and said, "You're not fit to raise, you know, your kids." Pretty much saying, "We're gonna take your kids away from you and put them in foster care."
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked down and I just started crying. I said, "I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't do this."
Yep.
And I just kept looking at my mum saying, "I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. We've never been separated before, but in the lead up to that, our relationship was really on the rocks, you know, and I lost trust with her decision making. We were fighting a lot. I was starting to find my own identity, you know, at 12. So all these ingredients, and it's just boiling, like it's just been boiling over the top. And we landed at this moment, and these, these people said, it's all right, we'll get you into foster care and stuff. And I said, no, just call this number, just call them, please. Yep. And it was yours.
The number. Yeah,
it was yours. And I just had this weird relief. I had this really weird moment of like, okay, everything's going to change now.
Right.
Everything's going to be different.
For the better, or just uncertain?
Yeah, for the better, I think. Nothing.
Had they told you what was going to happen next? Because they took the number.
No.
And they
didn't tell.
They actually called me.
Yeah.
But then did they come back to you and say to you,
yeah,
here's what's happening, or whatever? Like, you were sitting there probably uncertain about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like their contact with me.
Well, I just remember being in a meeting room and like, everything's going to be okay now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going to be okay. And they just kept us waiting in this room. And then I remember this person coming back and saying, you know, we've called them this number. We'll come back and let you know what's going on.
Right.
And it was a couple of hours. It was quite a while.
I see.
Quite a long time.
Were you wondering, were you at that point, were you going, okay, I don't know if this is going well, or is it?
Yeah. I just kept, adrenaline was going on so much, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Where are we going to go to next? I just felt, you know, a lot of guilt about my mum because I don't know where she's gone now. I couldn't imagine she's probably feeling the worst without, you know, her kids being taken away from. So it was like all these things.
For such a young person to absorb, that was pretty crazy. And you probably went into your adult mode that you'd been operating at for so long anyway.
Absolutely. And then they came back and took us to another boardroom. I opened the door and there was you and Auntie Zena.
Oh, so you hadn't known anything before we'd arrived?
No.
That's nuts.
They kept us waiting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they brought food and stuff. Like they were checking in on us. They didn't
just checking in on you to make sure. Okay, you were being fed and hydrated.
They kept us hydrated. You know, we had toiletries and stuff. Yeah, gosh. All they kept saying is, "We're working on it."
I see.
You know, you're safe.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they kept saying you're going to be safe now.
Yeah,
you know?
And I'm not sure if you knew this, but on the other end of that, for those 2 hours or so, or 3 hours, 4 hours, I'm being corrected here by my team. For those 4 hours,
It definitely felt like 4
I
hours.
was called, and then of course I had to call Auntie Zena and said, "Hey, this is what's happening." We had to make arrangements at our end, but in the meantime, on the trip to the airport, Canberra was in contact with us the whole time, and they were saying, "You've got to fill these forms out. You've got to get a police check. You've got to do all these things
Wow.
on the trip." So we were getting to the airport. To make the flight. And in the meantime, we were on the phone to Canberra, and they were telling us all these things we had to do in transit. Yeah, they were running a police check on us and all this sort of stuff. And then, we eventually made it to the airport. And then, there we were all of a sudden, just two young ladies in a room, filled with tears in their eyes. And we weren't sure if we were elated and happy, but yeah.
It was the most life-changing moment,
That's why you say it was pivotal,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. And we had a really strong bond, during my time in Melbourne when I was up to 5, and you're my favorite aunt, and seeing you again was just like, oh, thank God, I'm safe.
Right.
I'm safe now.
Yeah.
I didn't know for how long, because again, I still had that mentality of, I'm a burden, I just made you come all the way out to Canberra from Melbourne, I was so grateful.
Well, actually, I forgot to say that when the folks in Canberra called us, they told us that they were going to foster you out to some family in Western Australia or something. And I'd said, nope.
WA.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, nope, we're going to be there. We'll take them. We'll take the girls. And we knew that was going to be as long as it needed to be. So we everything we did in the lead up to getting to Canberra was, for as far as we were concerned, was for forever.
Absolutely. Me too.
Yeah.
And, to go back to that moment when they said foster care, I really went into survival mode.
They'd said that to you, right?
Yeah. Because, during that time of living with my mum, we had actually experienced foster care before. And that was, as those who would probably have been in the system, it's very broken. It's not the best. We've had, it's not always safest as well.
So you were both living with other families?
Yeah, we've lived with another family before.
Without your mom?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was for a couple months. One of the worst experience, ever. They tend to split you. They tend to, because sometimes, foster parents, they'd lean a little bit to the younger kids.
Right.
And they only want one, or I don't come in with a package.
True.
So I couldn't do that. And that's just what it was. But for me, I was like, no, we were never going to be split. But yeah, that was pretty much that was going through my mentality. And yeah, and then we eventually found
yourself
Melbourne.
In Victoria
again. Yeah. And gosh, that was just, I'm forever grateful. But again, that time also had some pretty different challenges, know, instead of survival, we'd unlocked that now, we've gotten over that hump. But I think it was living in a different sort of lifestyle was the next sort of challenge.
Yeah, you had to change the way you, well, I suppose in effect, the life that you knew for 12 years was now going to be very different.
Very different. But for the better,
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So Melbourne, you're in Melbourne now. You've you've been picked up by your two aunts. You obviously were going through all those emotions, but then well, you were into your high school years at that time, right? I mean, tell us about that experience for you.
It was a lot better than, my previous ones. Yeah. I felt really secure. I felt really excited to go back to school.
Nice.
I think I was definitely missing people of my age.
Yeah.
And meeting new people. But I think the difference with this experience was, okay, this one matters. Because I am not moving anymore. Right. This is home. This is where we're settling down. So that introduction into this school was for me to like really put on my best front, you know, that I have to really make it work. But yeah, it was really good. I think I liked high school. I mean, I think it was difficult to make connections.
Yeah. Given you hadn't grown up with these guys, you hadn't gone to
Yeah.
primary school like ordinary.
Yeah.
You know, most ordinary young children do. They tend to.
I was really nervous. I was really, really nervous.
Understandable.
And at that point, you know, I had a lot of my guard up too. So I wasn't really giving my all to everyone. I was more of a floater through different friendship groups. You know, I didn't really strongly connect with anyone, but I never really disagreed with anyone.
Yeah.
I was just kind of that float around.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'd lean more towards, you know, the library or, you know, I'd test it out with different subjects like woodwork and art. I'd always be in the art room quite a lot throughout lunchtime.
Yes.
You know, try and have that creative outlet. But yeah, no, high school here in Melbourne, it was good. I think the challenges at the start was I think I was sleeping through class from memory.
Well, you were a bit of a napper as a young child.
Yeah, I was sleeping through class because I was staying up at night. Because you know I was going through quite a bit of insomnia and anxiety because so much has changed.
Yes.
And we hadn't seen my mum.
Yeah.
We didn't know what she was going through, where she was. You know, so I was going through some mental challenges about, you know, deserting her in a way.
Yeah. Of course.
But no, it was really life-changing to be here. And having my own room, just those small things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I truly believe I manifested this
Right.
in a way. Because during those hard times, I remember this. I weirdly remember designing my own bedroom.
Ah.
And I was flicking through magazines, you know, when we were out where we were. And I remember like, yep, I'm going to have that bed. I'm going to have this in my room.
Yeah.
Like I was just, you know,
incredible
daydreaming, you know, of a life that I wish I was going to have. And I saw these lanterns, you know, that hang from the ceiling in the magazine. And they were pink. I'm pretty sure they were pink in the magazine. And I said, yup, I want that hanging up in my room. And then when I was here in Melbourne, and I remember this day, and you came home with those lanterns.
Yeah, I did.
You came home with those lanterns, and I thought, oh my God, I got kind of creeped out. I was like, oh,
it's crazy.
I was like, yay!
I didn't know that. I didn't at the time that I bought the lanterns. I just thought you guys would like them.
Yep.
Had no idea that was part of your, you know what I mean, like imaginary.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Furniture in your room.
You came home with those exact ones. I think they're from IKEA.
Yeah.
That's right. I was going through their IKEA magazine. Sorry, it's still coming back to me. And I was flicking through IKEA magazine. I was like, yep, I want those ones.
Wow.
And you came
crazy.
home with them.
What?
You came home with them.
Crazy. That's nuts because we bought them from IKEA. Lol.
Yep. And I thought, okay, wow. Have I just unlocked something?
How did this just happen?
I think I just unlocked something.
Right.
You know, that was my first sort of unintentional manifestation, you know? And I thought, okay, that was the moment where I'm like, I can do anything.
Amazing.
I can do anything, you know? Weirdly unlock the superpower.
Yeah, of course.
Because, you know, there was out of body moment. And I think, yeah, that was when I was like, okay, I really, let's do it almost, you know. I've got everything now. I've got the support.
Yeah.
I've got my family, you know. I'm back at school. Let's just try and make a difference for myself. And yeah, I think
I love that.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a really pivotal moment. And I loved being here at school too. It was great. I loved the people here.
Right.
I had a really good
to you.
They were so
Teachers
good to me. Yeah. I was a bit of a teacher's pet as well.
Right.
I never really did anything
We didn't
bad.
hear any trouble out of you in school.
My history teacher loved me. I think Miss Greenstreet.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I like got to know adults at a younger age, I obviously connected with them a lot more. So dealing with teachers was kind of
Kind
like
of
my
knew what
forte.
they were looking out for.
I've gone through different
Bad
schools.
behavior and-
Yeah, I've seen different kids, what's good, what's not, what, who I should hang out with. I think that's a big one actually as well. Throughout, my younger years, I've noticed, really being selective with who you hang out with.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you test the field and kind of go, okay, well, I need to figure out who my people are in the crowd that I need to be among?
Totally. Yeah, when I got here, because I had this mentality of, okay, this really matters now. I can't.
You got to make this one work.
I got to make this work.
Gotcha.
Because I can't just run like we usually used to.
Yeah.
And previous to my high schools, I'd have fun with it, and I would create different identities that I felt was comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be here for long. We travel quite a lot. We just got from Europe.
So you effectively created these personas for you that helped you kind of get through those challenging times.
Challenges, yeah.
And in essence, kind of give you that promise of hope and improvement in your life at some point, if that's,
And then I think this is why this one was scary, because I'm like, do I even like the story I'm going to tell, And I'm hearing about all those other, stories about kids who've been here all their life, Their parents are so lovely, and, where's you get your question, where's your mom from? I live with my aunt. And they're like, oh, we hear a lot about your aunts, quite a lot. They're like, yeah, they're great. But, there's always that weird question mark from kids.
And you weren't
Where's
sure
dad?
how you were going to explain your way out through that.
Yeah. How, because,
Yeah, you're not coming from a nuclear family. You're coming from quite an extraordinary, sort of setting where, they're your aunts, and obviously we're not we're in a same-sex relationship, which would have also added to the challenge for you. Gosh, you just faced Ntear challenge after challenge. One step forward, two steps back.
I didn't think of that actually. But all the kids and friends that I used to bring home, they love you. They still talk about you to this day,
right?
They still ask about you
for good reasons.
all for good reasons, But that didn't really faze me at all. But yeah, now that I think about it, it's definitely a different dynamic to all the other kids that I hung out with.
Filling in the forms, going, name of mother, name of father. And you're like, I have a father and a mother, but I don't live with them. So how do I?
It's easier,
Of course.
Just wrapped up the questions like that. And they're like, oh, okay.
Totally makes sense.
Don't go into that route. And I just think, it was really
What about
weird.
Academically for you? Like, how did you get through, but by that time, what year were you doing, and academically, how were you feeling, given you'd missed so much of school? Probably wasn't an ideal situation for you, but how did you, sort of get through that?
So from memory, I think it was 12, sorry, when I was here.
I think you were
12?
14 by that
14. Gosh, sorry, my memory is.
I think you were in year 9.
There was a lot
by that
probably.
time.
I think year 9.
Well, I think it started at 12 years old for you, and by the time you kind of come through, you were I think you were about to turn 14. You were 13 by that time.
13. Thank you. And I think it was choosing what year level. That's right. I was going to do. And I think I was meant to be in year 10. Yeah.
But they put you in year 9.
No, I asked for you to put me in year 9.
Oh,
I asked to be put back because I knew I wouldn't be up to the standard.
I see.
Like I already had a moment where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to keep up with these kids, because I lost a year.
Yeah. But you also wanted to set yourself up for success, not failure.
Absolutely.
It's very smart.
Absolutely. I just knew, I was like, nah, I have to do this. This is probably the right way to do it, No, I had no ego. I didn't want to do that, like, oh, I should be with kids, of my age. I was like, no, I have to be in a space where my mentality, my capacity is at right now, and it's
perfect.
It's obviously lacking. So I requested to do another year back. And I'm so happy I did. I really am. And it was a bit of a struggle, I think, with my my education a little bit. Just because, again, my sleeping pattern was out of whack. I was still learning how to learn was another one.
Yes. Plus, you were having to, now you're moving from a life of instability, adjusting to stability and thinking, oh, wow, actually, yeah, I'm going to be here tomorrow and then tomorrow and then tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you had to go and choose all your subjects and then know what you need, what you were supposed to be doing as an adult, sort of, you know, crystal ball your future. And you'd been crystal balling, but not in that sense from an academic perspective, I imagine, right?
Absolutely. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I definitely knew what I didn't want to do was live that life.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going through that experience in my childhood. So I think that was a key thing as well. You know, a lot of people kind of ask, you know, what do you want to do? It's like, and then people kind of get a little bit, I don't know, you know, as a bad thing. But at least you know what you don't want to be. At least you know something. So I think that's what I tried to take out of. And I kind of used that process of elimination. Like, nah, I'm not the best at math. Probably not going to be a mathematician or something. Or, you know, science. You know, I did like science, but I'm not an expert. It's probably not.
No biology, no science, no mathematics. You were narrowing down.
Started going, I was like, okay, what's left? I go, I'm good at drawing, you know.
Okay, so what were those subjects then? Say, for example, at the tail end of high school, you ended up choosing, I think you have electives, and they were, I think I remember psychology, I think was one of them. Did you do psychology?
Philosophy.
Sorry, I knew it started with P.
Yeah. I did philosophy. Gosh, I loved that.
Yeah.
I really.
And why was that?
Thrived in philosophy and history. I think I really love debating, I think. I really love hearing different, you know, ideologies and perspectives, and I really get energized from having those different conversations from people. And I noticed that in high school, and challenging not only the person.
The views of others.
The views of others and being challenged as well.
Yes.
I really loved that.
Is it because people in the world of philosophy actually want to hear your opinion and your interpretation? And is that what made you feel good? Because I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Apologies for guessing this, but I'm just guessing. I guess this is how I would feel, is that, somebody wants to know how I felt about a particular,
absolutely,
you know, sort of a way of life, and philosophically, how do people interpret these things? And actually somebody wants to hear my opinion on this.
And my teacher made it such a safe space as well. You know, every opinion is welcomed.
Yeah.
And
nothing was a wrong answer.
Nothing is a wrong answer. You know, this is totally on the floor, controversial or not, you know.
Right.
There are theories out here right now, but you're welcome to discuss it and challenge it. And, you know, that's why we're doing what we're doing
and
here
that's
today.
Why you loved the subject so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, you know, just diving in, why every little detail, why should we think like this? Or I think learning from different, like having awareness of different perspectives from people really left a big impact for me. And I think I take those learnings throughout my life already today.
Right.
Still. I loved philosophy. I loved history. Art. I think, I did a little bit of woodwork as well.
You brought home some very nice pieces.
Yeah. I don't know where those pieces are today, but I'm glad we enjoyed that.
I know there was a table involved.
There was a table. I can't remember. I think we did textiles a little bit, yeah. So no, we've tried so many different things. And that's, I think, another thing as well. Not only do I love philosophy, but I love saying yes to so many different subjects and trying new things. And I think that's definitely rippled into my adulthood, as you'll probably hear later. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed those subjects. and dance. I think dance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You were an amazing dancer.
Yeah.
Contemporary, jazz, hip hop. I think they were your main ones. Is that right?
Mum put me into ballet once.
Yeah.
I didn't like that very much. I didn't like the leotards. I didn't.
The tutus. You didn't.
The tutus.
Being on your toes all the time.
Yeah,
not for you.
Nah,
Holding onto a bar and
look.
spinning around in the mirror.
I felt so silly.
I know you like to dress up, but probably not in that sense.
This will probably, I think Mum really wanted that beautiful little ballerina.
Oh, yes. Well, when you were a child, you did karate. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to get that ballerina out of me.
So in high school then, you did those subjects. And I think, here in Australia, the mandatory subjects are also English and mathematics and so on. You went to the same high school and then you eventually graduated from that high school. What was that moment like for you, finally finishing it and reaching that point? Because, you went through all these years not even getting through a school.
And because, I was a year behind, I think, in that last year. I was of age. I think it was 18.
Oh, you were 18 by the time you graduated.
Yeah. So when I graduated, I went straight to the pub.
You went straight to the
I went straight to the pub.
On that day? I had no idea.
We didn't. Yeah, my friends and I, we were just so excited to just be done of exams.
It's so funny.
We tried so hard.
Were there other 18-year-olds in your group?
Yeah, there were.
There you go.
There were. Well, my philosophy teacher actually organised a dinner at Taco Bell. Across
just
the
here
road
locally.
from Cinch, yeah,
local.
So we had dinner planned at 7.
Yep.
Exam just I think finished at like 3. So we're like, I got a bit of time. So we went straight. Went to the pub, we hung out, played pool.
Nice.
And we just reflected, on high school.
Very good.
And we were obviously talking about how we were doing, in that exam.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the questions and we were thinking, oh God.
How did you think you went?
I think at that time, I really put my all into high school. I think from year 10. Oh no, from year 9 to year 12. Year 10, it wasn't the best in my grades, I think. No, year 9 wasn't the best. Year 10, I got really good at English, loved English. I had the best English teacher.
Yeah.
And she pushed me really, and she really got me to the line of, getting a kind of a good score. My ATAR score, it wasn't that great. I think I got like 54.
But you actually chose, you didn't choose, right? I will use the word forced. We did strongly encourage you to finish. We don't know if this was the right or the wrong thing for you. We maybe, and just a reflection on, how other parents do with their children is that we really, on reflection, we really should have probably allowed you to just given you the option to choose whether you wanted to do VCAL or VCE. We strongly encouraged that you did VCE, and I saw the fear in your eyes when we asked you to do it. And I think I recall you saying,
no, no,
I don't want to do it.
I was terrified, but honestly, I'm glad. I felt like I knew what you wanted me to go into.
Yeah.
But I had that feeling where I knew it was going to be best.
Right.
I knew it was going to be hard, and there was quite a bit of pressure for me to finish VCE.
Yes.
And I didn't really want to, but I thought, you know what? I've gone back a year. Let's just do it.
Right.
We're here now. Whatever happens, happens. As long as I just really be disciplined and I just push through. This is not going to be forever. And I thought, I'm really looking forward to my adulthood years.